Chair. A very good afternoon to all our honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Espoo International School and Indian Women in Finland, I would like to warmly welcome you all to today's seminar. Jnana. The word Jnana means knowledge. As we talk about knowledge, education is the first and foremost step to attain knowledge. Education is one of the greatest means of transforming a child's overall growth. Be it academic education, physical education, music or art. All influences the personality of a child from the very beginning. As we all know, Finland's unorthodox education system is acclaimed throughout the world. And we believe it's a privilege for our kids to experience it. And as a responsible citizen and a parent, it is our duty to help kids achieve their full potential by guiding them through the right direction. We feel very obliged and equally proud to organize this platform, where the parents will understand and get to know the Finnish education system in a better way. We are delighted to have some of the esteemed delegates from the education industry with us today, who will enlighten us and guide us through various choices we have for our kids. Allow me to outline the agenda to you all. We will start the seminar with a brief introduction about Indian women in Finland. We will then proceed with our esteemed speakers and chief guests who will share their knowledge and experience with us about the daycares and the school system, where we will get the chance to put forward which will be followed by a high tea break. After which we will have a Q&A session along with a panel discussion, where you will get a chance to put forward all your queries and questions. I would here request all the participants to fill up the form as soon as possible and hand over it to the IWF volunteers. On behalf of the whole team, I wish you all a convivial welcome again. We are sure that the seminar will prove to be very useful for everyone. It now gives me a great pleasure to hand over to Rosa, who will share a brief introduction about Indian women in Finland. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Vasuprada Muthuraman and welcome you all. So, who are we? What do we do? Are we just a bunch of good-looking women who have fun all the time? Well, that's what we mostly do, but we do have a lot more to that. I think this is the spirit that we have amongst all our women, to come together for a cause, to give back to people, to have fun at the same time. We also act as a reminder that we need to enjoy life, live life to the fullest, and keep learning, teach people, and then evolve from what we are now. So all we offer is just a little help here and a push there to help women fly. So this is Indian Women in Finland. Just a quick snap of what we normally do. We cook, we bake, we help, we dance, we sing, we do many things. We try to entertain our children, we try to teach them something new. So we always want to do something different, want to do something new. So this leads to our educational seminar today. Welcome to Jnana. Over to you, Vibha. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasu. Our first guest this afternoon is the Honourable Member of Parliament, Maria Guzinena, who represents the district of Usima. She's headed the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs in past, and currently she's a member of Forum of International Affairs, Constitutional Law Committee, and Finnish delegation to the Council of Europe. We welcome Ms. Guzinena and are keen to hear from her about the government's perspective on the educational policies and reforms.
Thank you so much. Yes, I must say that not just beautiful women with lots of time in their hands, it's amazing what they have done for your community and to the Finnish community. Your Excellency, dear friends, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here with you today. When I met earlier this week with the three wonderful women of IWF, Rania, Suma and Swati, I just could not refuse their invitation to come to this event. Such will, such power. I have to say that women like this are the true backbones of any society, and we are honored to have them here in Finland. But let me start by telling you a little bit about my background. I am a daughter of an immigrant mother. My mother was born in Ulan-Ude, which is in Siberia, former Soviet Union. It was when she was born there. Her family moved to Kaliningrad, which is by the Baltic Sea, and eventually she was studying at the Moscow University at the economy faculty, and she met my father, who was a translator for a Finnish company. They fell in love, they married, and they moved to Finland. When I was born in 1969, Finland was a very different country. There were not a lot of foreigners here. I have to say that I don't remember a single encounter of a Russian background women, despite my mother, while I was very young. Later on, yes, but at that time, no. Finland was very different from now. Finns didn't travel abroad. There were not a lot of foreigners, any foreigners living here. And there were not multicultural families. Me and my mother, we moved to Espoo in the 80s, early 80s. At that time, foreigners were counted by hundreds. But at that time already you could see that there was a shift happening. I lived and worked in UK for 8 years. My son was born there. I moved there in 1993, and when we returned in 2002, Finland had changed completely. It was amazing. In the 90s, 2,058 foreigners were living in Espoo. I looked at the statistics. 244 of them were from Sweden. From Soviet Union, 226. And the third biggest group of foreigners were Germans, 193. So you could not really see foreigners when you were walking anywhere in the capital region. When we moved back from Finland in 2002, there was a big change, but still there was a lot of need for example, on the educational field, to cater for the foreigners that had moved to Finland. For example, when my son, I tried to find him kindergarten, English-speaking kindergarten. I tried for him obviously to maintain the language he had learned from his first country. There were only 2 kindergartens that were English-speaking. Now, in Espoo only, 15% of the population are of foreign descent. So the numbers have multiplied in great shape. And this is something of a challenge as well, because the change is so rapid. I think us as Espoo people, and also on the parliamentary level, we need to understand that this requires, for example, more schools like Espoo International Schools, more kindergartens that cater for English language families. And I have to say that, again, there are great changes happening. For example, as we are preparing the budget of Espoo at the moment, we have prepared a strategy, and in this strategy, for the first time, English language has become an official language of Espoo. Changes happen when you make them happen. And as I spoke with those 3 wonderful women, Ramia, Suma and Swati, earlier this week, I understood that there is still so much to do. And therefore, when they invited me to be part of this seminar, I came here also out of curiosity to hear what the needs are today. How can we, parliamentarians and here in Espoo, how can we cater better? For example, now that we are preparing the budget, as I've understood, so many families were left out of a schooling place here at Espoo International School. As I heard, it was even 20%, and this is not acceptable. Also, it is not acceptable that when the move of ACE was proposed by the civil servants to the Otaniemi region, to a building that was not suitable for younger children, it was done in a way that it was not in cooperation, for example, with the parents of ACE. And this is something that we need to better ourselves. So more than telling you what we can offer you, I came here to hear what you have to say. What is your message to us who can do things for you? So without further ado, once again, thank you for inviting me here. I will stay throughout the whole seminar, and I will take notes, and I will pass your messages, and I promise to work hard so that Finland and Espoo will be a best place for you and your children in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'd like to offer you a small gift from us. Thank you. Today we are also honored to welcome the Malaysian ambassador to the Republic of Finland, Her Excellency Dato Blanche O'Berry. Madam Ambassador has a vast legal and diplomatic experience. She's been the solicitor of the High Court of Malaya from 1986 to 2009 and has also previously held the post of High Commissioner of Malaysia to Papua New Guinea and accredited to Solomon Islands and Republic of Vanuatu from 2009 to 2013. Interestingly, she also has a diploma in teaching English. We thank you again, Madam Ambassador, for gracing this event with your presence, And now we request you to share your thoughts.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. President of the Indian Women of Finland, Ms. Ramya Sriram, and an always able team. I had the pleasure of knowing you all, I think 2 years ago, when I attended the Diwali show here.
Diwali.
And it was mind-blowing to see how you women, although you're not, or maybe some of you are full-time employed, but still you have all the time and energy in all kinds of activities. I saw the sports, because I follow your page on Facebook. So you are a bunch of active women, and good luck to you and wish you many, many more years of success. Miss Anne-Marie Rappo, Principal of the Espoo International School. Honorable Member of Parliament, Madam Maria Guzaina, who spoke from her heart, which is the excellent Member of Parliament for Espoo. Espoo Lights, you are lucky to have her as your Member of Parliament. Speakers, respected teachers from the several daycare centers, I understand you are here today. Ladies and gentlemen, Happy Diwali to all of you who have celebrated it recently, because I also celebrated it in Little India in Malaysia. You may be wondering why Malaysian ambassador is invited for this event. I'm half Indian, as you all know. My mom is Tamil, so I speak Tamil. So that was, I think, maybe the connection, I'm not sure. So my connections, as I say, to the IWF was like 2 years ago. At the outset, I would like to extend my appreciation for the invitation by the Indian Women of Finland for me to share my thoughts here into the Malaysian education system. Maybe it might make some similarities, or we can look at it how we could share our experiences later. When we think of education, which is a vital part of our lives, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world, said by Nelson Mandela. In Finland, the attitude towards education, I notice, is always positive, and education is valued. This is the plus points of our education in Finland. A bit of background of Malaysian education system, including the structure of our preschool, primary school, secondary and tertiary education, various types of school system in Malaysia. Finally, I would like to touch a little bit on the options available for Malaysian youth in education, as well as the emphasis on education by the Malaysian government. The foundation of the Malaysian education system started as far as the 14th century, prior to our independence. As you can see from the map of Malaysia, many of you might have traveled to Malaysia. So that's the map. The country is made up of two parts. One is the peninsular Malaysia, which we call it the West Malaysia, and the states of Sabah and Sarawak, which I think commonly known as Borneo, which is East Malaysia. Prior to our independence in 1957, Islamic and Christianity studies were the main focus in Malaysia and Borneo respectively. Only after independence, formal education was introduced and various improvements over the last 60 years. We are 60 years old now. Most Malaysian children start with preschool at the age of 6 years and below. Nowadays, they go to school like at the age of 3. Preschool and, before starting their compulsory education, primary school at the age of 7. Some preschools have adopted specialized methods of teaching, such as the Montessori. Montessori type of teaching is very popular in Malaysia, but I look forward to the Finnish daycare education to come slowly into Malaysia, which is already beginning with the visit. I will come to that part, which the visits are happening now in Malaysia. Based on the 2012 statistics from the Ministry of Education, there are more than 8,664 preschools in the country. So at the age of 7, Malaysian children attend compulsory primary school. The government funds public schools, which are divided into two types. The national schools, which uses Malay as the medium of instruction, and national type schools, or Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan, we call it, which uses Tamil and Mandarin language as the medium of instructions. We are the only country, if I'm not mistaken, out of India which has got Tamil schools, and out of China, Mandarin schools, Chinese schools. And Tamil school starts at the year 1 and they finish at year 6. They don't go into the secondary level. With the exception to Tamil National Type of School, the Malay and Chinese schools will proceed to secondary. Chinese schools have gone into the secondary level as well. But children who learn Tamil can even do Tamil as one of the subjects at the university level. So we have many graduates who speak and write, and they're so fluent in Tamil as well, of course, in the Mandarin language. Those who learn Mandarin or they learn Tamil, some learn both. They do. I will elaborate this in my later part of my speech. Today there are about 7,773 primary schools in Malaysia, catering for almost 3 million children from the age of 7 to 12. These statistics includes 5,918 national schools, 1,324 Chinese schools, and 531 Tamil national type schools. National type schools using Mandarin and Tamil as a medium of instruction exist as a result of, you'll be wondering how, because of the arrival of the Chinese and Indian during the British colonial period. Despite the medium of instructions, different ethnic groups still can send their children to any one of the schools. There's no restrictions. This provided a good platform for racial integration among the people of Malaysia. For the natives of the East Malaysia, that is Sabah and Sarawak or Borneo as you know it, language classes for the Iban and the Kadar are also taught in the primary schools. So you can see how multi-cultural and multilingual Malaysian type of schools are. At the end of year 6, all primary schoolers will sit for a standardized examination. This is where we are similar to India. We have got lots of exams. At the end of year 6, which is at the age of 12, there's already a government exam. Despite the results, of course, all will move into the secondary education. Secondary education starts at which we call at the age of 13, Form 1 over there, maybe here is grade 7, grade 6, to about grade 9, to the lower form, of which at the end they sit for a standardized test again at grade 9. After lower form, students continue to the upper for another 2 years, which is crucial for the Malaysian students, those who are sitting for the Malaysian Education Certificate, which is equivalent to the O levels. So you can see that at the age of 12 there's an exam, at the age of 15 there's an exam, and then 17 is the O levels. This is how the system, more or less. And the subset of the secondary school is the national type, similar to the primary school. However, there are only Chinese secondary schools available. The curriculum is developed and coordinated by the Curriculum Department of the United Chinese School Committee Association of Malaysia, with reference to secondary education curricula around the world, particularly Malaysia's national secondary education curriculum and those of mainland China as well as Taiwan. The curriculum publishes textbooks, the committee publishes textbooks for use in Chinese independent high schools. On top of national schools, education in Malaysia is also supported by private schools and international schools. Typically, private schools offer a wider array of elective subjects, comprehensive co- and curricular, extracurricular activities, facilities for learning sports, IT and arts. They place greater emphasis on the English language, the private and the international schools, even though these schools follow the Malaysian national curriculum. To gain entry to a private school, a student of course has to go through assessment and interview. The Ministry of Education of Malaysia defines an international school as a private school which offers preschool, primary and secondary school education using an international curriculum and English as the medium of instruction. Although these schools mainly cater for the needs of the international community, such as the children of the staff of the embassies and foreign businesses, international organizations, namely missions up to 40% of students may be Malaysians, and with the liberalization of international school, this number is on the rise each year. Additionally, we have also the international, for example, the Global Indian International School. We have an Indian International School in Malaysia, opened its branch in Malaysia in 2006. and uses Indian education curriculum as well as Cambridge and others. So we have an international Indian school there. Additionally, we have the international school here, as in here, like Espoo International and Helsinki International. We have the International School of Kuala Lumpur, which is, we call it ISKL. The main types of international curriculum approved by the Ministry of Education are the British curriculum, the Australian curriculum, the American curriculum, and the Canadian. Many of these schools offer education from preschool right up to the preparation of students to sit for an international examination, like the O-levels and the A-levels, and the international baccalaureate, IB programs, and diplomas. Besides the normal academic route of secondary school, vocational and technical education is also offered to those who have completed the lower form. It is increasingly a popular choice of students as it saves time and money. Those who opt to enter a vocational college after their Form 3 assessment will receive their diplomas after just 4 years of studies. This is in contrast with those who opt for their O-level, which is the SPM exam, which takes an additional 2 years to get a diploma. Responding to the demands of the future, the Malaysian government has introduced the Transformasi Nasional 2050 or TN50. It is an initiative plan for the future of Malaysia in the period of 2020 to 2050. From the vision of becoming a developed nation in 2020, Malaysia expects to be amongst top countries in the world in economic development, citizen well-being, and innovation by 2050. Education is viewed as one of the foundations for this achievement. Though 2050 is still quite far ahead, the efforts in the education quality improvement has started to bear fruits, as Malaysia is now ranked 24th in the 15th World Bank Ease of Doing Business ranking, since all of them speak in English, showing our commitment to be a competitive nation. Under TN50, the Malaysian government further emphasizes the importance of education sector in Malaysia, as evident in the 2018 budget. We just had our budget, Honourable Member of Parliament, we just had our budget last Friday on the 27th of October, presented by our Honourable Prime Minister last year. Under this budget, a total of 250 million ringgit Malaysia is allocated for the following initiatives. The government has agreed to set up a science, technology, engineering and mathematics center to develop the latest learning methods to train specialist teachers in the fields of utilizing existing facilities at Teachers Training Institute in collaboration with Academy of Science Malaysia. The computer science module will be further enhanced by introducing coding program in primary and secondary school curriculum, which currently existed in grade 7 and grade 9, while upgrading more than 2,000 classes with smart classrooms to enhance creative-based learning and innovative thinking, like how we are looking at the Finnish way of education. A very creative and very transparent and innovative way of classrooms which you have implemented this year. At the tertiary education level, according to the 2017-2018 QS University Ranking Report, 5 local research universities in Malaysia have improved their ranking and are among the top 300 best universities in the world, which is top 1% in the world. In fact, University of Malaya, which is our oldest university, ranking has improved by 19 places to 114, nearing 100 best universities in the world. Today, there are 37 private universities in Malaysia, 20 private university colleges, 9 foreign university branch campuses, and 414 private colleges in Malaysia. With 134,000 foreign students in local higher learning institutions, we are nearing the target of achieving as a regional higher educational hub. In March 2016, last year, QS released its World Universities Ranking by subject. For the first time in Malaysia's higher education history, 3 subjects are ranked top 50 in the world. University Malaya leads the pack with 2 subjects, namely Development Studies and Electronic Engineering, with chemical engineering at the 46th place. To add to these, 13 subjects were ranked within the world's top 100, including all engineering categories, assessed aeronautical, mechanical and manufacturing engineering, as well as agriculture, pharmacy and computer studies. The following foreign universities have set up their campuses in Malaysia, namely University of Nottingham, Malaysia Campus, Monash University Malaysia Campus, Curtin University Malaysia, Swinburne University of Technology, Sarawak Campus, Newcastle University, Madison, Malaysia, University of Southampton, Malaysia Campus, Harriet Watt University of Malaysia, University of Reading, and Xiamen University of Malaysia. We are proud to say that Malaysia is the only country where Chinese education up to the university level has opened in out of China. That is the Xiamen University campus. According to the 2015 statistics by the Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia, a total of 511,154 students were offered placements in higher education institutions in Malaysia. Of the total, 230,000 plus are male, 280,000 plus are female, with a ratio of male to female at 1 to 1.2. Not that bad. I think the gap is narrowing between the boys and the girls in the university intake. You could look at the number of intake which I've circulated as in the graph. With the context of the Malaysian-Finnish relations, we have enjoyed substantial level of cooperation and education. For example, some universities in Malaysia, such as the University of Science Malaysia, University of Putra Malaysia, and University of Technology Mara hosted a number of Finnish students on a short-term student exchange programs since the 1990s. This has provided an excellent people-to-people connection between our younger generation. The Haaga-Helia University of Applied Science was among the first higher education institution in Finland to explore international export opportunities for education and training services. In recent years, Haaga-Helia has utilized FIT partnerships, business partnership support in identifying partners in Vietnam, Malaysia, Peru, and Botswana. The biggest progress has been made in Malaysia. The first contacts were made during an export promotion in 2011. 2016, Haaga-Helia launched a study program in hospitality at the Distant College in Penang. Haaga-Helia has plans to reinforce its foothold in Malaysia. It is working with the cooperation with the Wawasan Education Foundation, which manages the Distant College. On this side of the world, Finland is one of the top options for Malaysian students furthering their postgraduate studies at the master's and PhD levels in science and applied sciences. A substantial number of those who have completed their studies were lecturers of public universities in Malaysia, indicating a strong confidence by the Malaysian government of the Finnish postgraduate students' studies. In addition, we have a number of undergraduate students who are here in the Kajaani University of Applied Science at the Oulu University. According to last year's statistics by the Statistics Finland, there are 49 Malaysian students pursuing their studies in Malaysia, compared to 6 years ago of about only 29 students. Though the number is small, there's a growing trend of increasing interest of studies here. The recent announcement to welcome about 150,000 international students is opportune, and I hope more Malaysians will come to study in Finland. I have already submitted a statement regarding the 150,000 international students campaign by Finland, which is very proactive, and Malaysia looks forward to participate in it, to encourage more Malaysians to choose Finland to pursue their tertiary and postgraduate studies. I commend the continuous efforts by colleagues in Malaysia, His Excellency Ambassador of Finland to Malaysia, Mr. Petri Puhaka, in promoting Finnish education in Malaysia. On Thursday this week, in fact this is what the current thing that's happening in Kuala Lumpur, the Ambassador of Finland hosted Mr. Olli-Pekka Heinonen, DG of the Finnish National Agency for Education and a former Minister of Education of Finland in Kuala Lumpur, where the Director General gave television, radio and print interviews, public talks on Finnish education system, and a reception at the Ambassador's residence with a theme, 30 years of student exchange between Malaysia and Finland. In conjunction with the event, the Embassy of Finland in Kuala Lumpur is organizing a presentation of what a typical Finnish school day looks like next week in Malaysia. So I think this is like bringing the real classroom to Malaysia so that people can see and understand what is the uniqueness of Finnish education or a classroom for a day. Over the last 4 years, our government ministries and agencies have shown strong support and we had many visits. I'm pleased to learn that on the 8th of November, I was told, there will be a nationwide parent-teachers meeting in Finland. Correct me if I'm not very correct. In Finland, where parents receive information on the school world and has opportunity to ask questions and provide their comments on the way education is conducted here. I personally believe that parents' involvement is crucial. I'm sure all the teachers will agree here, and as I have 2 school-going children myself. Even more impressive, this world's largest parent-teachers gathering is held as part of the celebration of Finland's 100th independence, just about a month away. I think I've covered rather extensively on the education system. I certainly hope that we'll be able to find some common grounds for us to work together in the future. Finnish education system is known to be among the best in the world, and we are keen to learn from Finland the flexibility and tap into the entrepreneurial mindset of the Finns. To this end, I'm pleased that we have hosted a number of Malaysian delegates to Finland to study about Finnish education. And also reminds me of a quote of Martin Luther King Jr. Intelligence plus character should be the goal of true education. I think that is what I see in Finland, education with a character. We not only learn about how to add and how to minus and how to memorize, but you also have a character to the education where you bring this valueness and positivity to your education. This is what I'm most impressed. With that, I would like to thank the organizing committee again for the invitation to allow me to speak here today and to share the progress. When Malaysia has turned 60 already after this independence, I also would like to take this opportunity to wish Finland greater success on its centennial celebration of independence on 6th of December. Thank you, Kiitos.
Thank you. Before we continue, we'd like to remind you that on arrival you were given question and answer forms. We'd like you to make note of your questions, and we're collecting them before you go out for the tea break near the dais. So you can tear it off for the speaker you would like to ask a question to and submit it there. The Finnish daycare system gives a strong foundation to the overall development of children. The daycare is to help our children develop good social habits, help make friends, and emphasize on the joy of learning. Today we're joined by some of the most esteemed daycares in the metropolitan area. We'd first like to welcome Eija Rolamo, who is the founder and owner of Albatross Daycare. Ms. Rolamo has a Master of Education from the University of Helsinki. She's been an entrepreneur for the past 20 years and was selected as an Entrepreneur of the Year 2006 in Espoo. She founded Albatross Daycare in 1998 and has been running it successfully since then. We must also mention here that we've received several requests from people who couldn't attend this session in person if they could somehow listen to your session. We now give the stage to Ms. Eija Rolamo and her team. We are also joined by Brian Crosby, who is the manager of Albatross Daycare. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's it's a very big honor to be here, and we have a very tight schedule, so I can imagine that it's better to start right away. So it's actually, as you heard, Albatros Daycare has been founded 20 years ago, so we have 20 years experience to be a private daycare in Espoo. And just to clarify this difference between municipal daycares and private daycares, it's something that maybe you all have understood and will understand when you apply for the daycare for your child. So we had only a few private daycares in 1998 when Albatros Daycare started. But since then, there has been like many English daycares also being started, and the differences between these private daycares are like maybe no, there are some differences between these daycares. Albatros Daycare is an independent daycare, so as you heard, it's owned by myself. We are not any part of any chain or any investors, so we can kind of choose the way how we work. And just to get to the point soon, so I would like to ask our general manager Brian Crosby to introduce Albatros Daycare to you, the way how we work and the system how we believe works with the children, following the Finnish curriculum and working the very appreciated Finnish way, the educational way. Please Brian, whenever you arrive and feel welcome to come to visit Albatros Daycare, the first persons and faces that you will see there is first of all Brian Crosby, who is the manager, and then of course I'm always available there. So it's very personal way of working with your children. But please feel welcome, Brian.
Good afternoon. So we have a very tight schedule, so I'll try to get this as quick as possible, hopefully you can understand. So Eija talked already about the history of Albatros. It was already established now 20 years ago. Altogether we have about 100 children, from 1-year-old to 6-year-olds. So you can spend all your early childhood education and preschool in Albatros. We have 20 staff members of 14 different nationalities, which includes our native English speakers as well in each group that we have. In addition, we also have many children from many different nationalities as well, so we are very international daycare. Talking more about our resources, then in addition to our staff that we need to have based on Espoo regulations for the children, we also have a full-time qualified resource teacher, Finnish pedagogic manager, and we also have cleaners in the daycare. The reason why we have these extra resources, which are not really needed, we believe that it allows us to provide the best possible care for the children, which means that the teachers who are there with your children are able to plan activities and really focus on the children's needs. So in this case then we make sure that we have small groups, so all the children are divided into smaller groups so that they get individual attention for each child. In addition, as we have our qualified teacher, it makes sure that our other teachers that we have in the daycare, they are able to plan during the work hours. So when they're sitting down observing and listening to the children what their needs and interests are, then the teachers are able to plan according to this. In addition, it means that we are always fully staffed, so during this flu seasons that come, we have extras in the daycare with our resource teacher, we have our pedagogic manager and myself. We are able to jump in at any time into the classroom to make sure that the teachers are not left alone. So this is very important. As we are very international with our staff, 14 different nationalities, it means that all our teachers have different expectations and demands of their children that they have in their classroom. The reason why we have our Finnish pedagogic manager is that she is able to bring these demands and expectations, but able to use it in the Finnish way. So even though we are a private English-speaking daycare, we do operate the Finnish way and use the Finnish curriculums. Just to point out the Finnish curriculum and how we do it. So the Finnish way of doing things here is to do everything through play. So we organize activities that we sit down with the children. There is no lessons to learn to read and write. So everything is a more of a hands-on approach. The new curriculum, this early childhood education curriculum, which was published it came in August of this year, is more of a child-centered curriculum rather than a teacher-centered curriculum, which means that teachers now, they don't plan for one semester in advance. What they do and how we do it in the daycare is that the teachers will listen, observe and look at the children and find out what their needs are. And then based on what their needs and interests are, then the children plan, or the teachers plan events accordingly. What this means is that the children learn what they want to learn rather than what we want them to learn. So in that way, it increases their interest for education. Yeah. I'm not sure what the time is left, but we'll go on. So a little bit about us then again. So as I mentioned, that we have groups for all of the children from 1 year old up into preschool. Basically about this graph is that mainly the most important thing to take from this is that what we have noticed is that the longer that a child spends with us in Albatross, the better it is for them and for the parents and for the teachers. Why I say this is because that if you spend 6 years with Albatross, then you're able to build, the teachers and the children and the parents were able to build a good relationship. So the teachers are able to know what the child is capable of as it develops over the 6 years and what it still needs to learn. Of course, you are able to jump in on this graph at any point. So if we have places. So we have our preschool, which is officially recognized preschool in Espoo. And what we have noticed over the last couple of years is that the main options when children are leaving Albatross is that they will go to either bilingual or then they go to an English language school. Mainly this is Espoo International here. But then there are other options as well, like Finnish language schools. Just to talk about some of the events that we have in Albatross as well. So we have our Christmas parties and our Mother and Father's Day celebrations. We have our parents' coffees and grandparents' coffees, which we introduced a number of years ago. We have show and tell events where parents can come in and talk about their cultures and these things, which is interesting for the children and for us. And Sports Day, which is what we have for 3 days. This is our annual Sports Day, which takes place in May. And we invite all the parents and all the children in this event, which has been really popular over the last number of years. But maybe what to take from this is why we do this, is that we think that it's important that the parents get to know what daycare life is like for the child. So when the parents come into the daycare, during these events, they can spend time with the child. We organize activities, so during these Mother's Day celebrations, and next week we have our Father's Day celebrations running throughout the week. So when the fathers come into the daycare, we will have activities for the father and the child to spend time together. So all of our events are organized that the parents get to spend time with their child doing activities together. Yeah. And for more information, you can go to our website, and we also have our Facebook page. There we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. This actually, the very rush beginning was my mistake. I thought that we are very tight with the schedule, so I really didn't want to occupy you more with these historical details. But as I started with this, like when we started the daycare in Espoo, at the time then 1990s, Espoo City made a decision that they will give more opportunities for private daycares. So basically, the reason why private daycares and these English language schools are so popular in Espoo is the decision made by Espoo itself. So that it gives an opportunity to parents and families to choose which kind of education they would prefer to their children. And in this sense, the English language daycares, numbers of them has increased during these years a lot. And now we heard, and hopefully we will hear, that there will be more seats for like in English schools as well, to give this opportunity for your children to have an education in English rather than in Finnish. I can imagine, and I hope that you can pass your questions to us as requested here, and then we can maybe answer your questions regarding these daycares more. But this is basically what we would like you to know about Albatros daycare and the Espoo. Espoo is a very good place to live, so be proud of your choice to come here to Espoo. So they will support your child's education a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
We're also joined today by Cornelia Tuoriniemi from Garden City Play School in Weston. Cornelia has a master's degree in psychology and works as a teacher at the Garden City Play School. Cornelia.
Hello, I'm really happy to be here because I know about your wonderful organization, and we have had Indian families come to us looking for support and a sense of family and structure here in Espoo, and now I know where to refer them, and I really appreciate knowing about you. Also, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about Anne-Marie Ravna's presentation, because I think this kind of meeting where we have education groups from schools and kindergartens meeting together gives us a chance to open that transparency and increase the communication, because our job is to get children ready for school. They come to us at 1, 2, 3. They've never been away from home. Maybe they've never heard English before. And we need to get them safe feeling, confident, comfortable to grow into the English academic situation that they will enter later. So, I'll go to the first page. Turn. Yes, okay. Last year, we were purchased by Pilkki, which is a big organization, and that has been a very positive change for us. We've gotten a lot more increased support for our teachers, for our facilities. And we had a chance to look at our website. We knew that we were proud that we had been teaching in English for 20 years, but we thought, what's the most important thing for parents? Well, we came up with this sort of line. It all starts with a warm smile in the morning, lots of fun and fresh air, a safe and enriching environment, and gentle care. And that really sums up what we want your children to feel in the day. They come to us, they don't know who these people are, what language they're speaking, what's happening. We want them to feel safe. If they don't feel safe and cared for and listened to, they won't learn. I was very excited to hear some of the words in the introductions about knowledge and learning and about character in learning. These are all the things that we are aspiring to in our kindergartens. We have 3 Garden City Play Schools in Espoo, 2 in Tapiola, and 1 in West End. I'm the manager in West End. We have our managers from Tapiola located here too. I'll go to the next slide. How do we teach your children? That's a very important thing. We, of course, follow the same national core curriculum that is required. And this is a very natural process for us because we have been using the early years foundation stage curriculum for quite a few years already. And that has always inspired us to not just teach top-down and do teacher-led activities, but also to look from children's level up and do child-initiated activities. So following that experience, moving to this new national core curriculum has been very natural for us. And it's great fun, and it's spontaneous and free and happy. And the children are doing more, and we step back, and they have the ideas, and they blossom. We have done amazing concerts, amazing presentations, amazing projects, because they have initiated them. We didn't think, oh, yes, we've got to do something for this holiday, what will we do? No, the kids were excited about dinosaurs, or excited about boats, or excited about whatever it was that some child brought in, and then we did a project based on that. From that, you can teach everything. You can teach vocabulary, you can teach maths, you can teach inspiration, creativity, all of the social, emotional, and academic skills from their interests. And it makes it fun. Fun for them, fun for us. Moving through this little list, high quality interaction. And we listen. We're there with them. We eat lunch together. We talk. We find out what are their hobbies. What do they enjoy? It's not just sitting back and making a plan. We do the same plan every year. No. It's listening. It's coming down to their level and seeing what they're excited about. What do they think and talking and growing. Inclusion. Everyone needs to be a part of it. Everything. If there's somebody that's looking really sad and lost, you have to figure out what's happening. We don't want them to judge each other. We want them to cooperate. We're always working on social skills, interaction, in small groups, in large groups. Small group activities. That can be pair work, that can be 6 children and 1 teacher, it can be a project group work, it can be mixed age group sometimes. The older ones teaching the younger ones. Learning environment. The best way to see that would be to look at our Facebook pages and see what we do in terms of social media. You'll see the kinds of trips we take, the kinds of activities, the classroom environment, or come to visit us. That's also the best way to see the environment. The children make the artwork. We change the environment to suit the themes that they're interested in. And they chat at the tables, and they sit there and say, I did that one over there. Which one's mine? Oh, this one. And they love to chat about what they have done. So we're very in the moment with the environment as well. That should reflect their interests. The toys should be rotated to reflect their interests. Project work, we have a lot of different concerts, a lot of different, we have a blog now in one location. We have a lot of different long-term and short-term projects that are inspired by the children's interests. And the parents are actively involved, and they've really responded well to this new blog in particular that was started in one of the top locations. Pedagogical documentation. We have learning plans, of course, for every child, but we also have a learning journey portfolio that is saved either on a memory stick or in printed form. We can print it out, but it's a wonderful way to see your child in the moment, see their smiling face when they created this project that they had wanted to work on. And we use that in conjunction with the learning profiles for the parent-teacher conferences. And the next one. So, Gardens and Playscape. Why am I excited about working there? I love the location. I love that we're close to all kinds of facilities in terms of museums and libraries. I also love the nature. We have access to wonderful, wonderful woods and forests and beaches, and we have a lot of chance to be outside in the fresh air. We have our own access to our own playgrounds and exclusive time in our playgrounds, which is a really important thing. Children need fresh air. They need freedom to run around and have exercise, and that's very important for us. The most important thing, I think it's very cozy. It's very cozy and warm and friendly and family feeling. And that, for me, is the most important thing you can do for your child and for you. If you don't feel safe leaving your child with us, and you don't feel that they're going to have fun and be appreciated and just relaxed, well, it would be a horrible thing to send your child somewhere where you don't feel safe and cozy and warm. And I think we hear that from a lot of parents. And we have some parents here today also, they'll mention it to you as well. But also, we've heard it from outside resources who have come to us and said they always feel good when they're in that environment. Our teachers really support each other and work well together. And that shows. And that's a great example for children of how to live and how to be. We have small kindergartens, about anywhere from 35 to 49, depending on the unit that you're in. So small groups gives us a chance to really be closely in touch with all the children and all the parents and have continuity. We also have support from Pilke in terms of having a cleaner so that we're not distracted from the children. We have the chance to be in the moment with the children throughout the day. We also have 20 years of experience in teaching English. I've been there for 8, and it's wonderful to see the changes that are going on in the educational system, and looking forward to more to come. Parent testimonials and our satisfaction surveys, you can find information on that if you look at our website, but we've got really wonderful feedback. What also makes us great is actually being part of Pilke. It's given us a lot of support in terms of resources, in terms of training and facilities and guidance, and most importantly, quality standards. This is very important. When you're sending your child somewhere, you really want to know that it's safe, it's secure, it's well managed. So these two symbols, you'll see them on our website. This Finnish flag means that it's a Finnish company that meets very high standards and employs Finland's best, I hope you say. And the ISO certification, some of you are probably familiar with this. It's a really detailed process to go through getting ISO certification. You have to make sure all of your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, and everything is very particular. So we're in the process of going through. We've already had a bunch of kindergarten certified, and we're going through for the rest of them. So I think that's also important for us now in the future. I could talk for a long time, but I know I can't. So I will leave it at that, and I look forward to questions and seeing you at the coffee. Thank you.
We're also joined today by Suzanne Berkowski, who's the CEO of Small Folks Daycare. Suzanne has a master's in education from United Kingdom and has completed teacher studies from Tampere University and Jyväskylä University. Suzanne is an international educator with experience in Finland, Singapore, India, China, United States, and Saudi Arabia. Suzanne also has an important news to share with us, and we thank you, Suzanne, for choosing this platform for sharing it.
Thank you to, I have to take my glasses off to read this. Thank you to all of you for coming here on a Saturday afternoon, especially when the weather looks pretty good outside, which is rare, and for your enthusiasm for all things to do with education. And I want to say a special thank you to Ramya and to the Women's Association. I know she's hiding behind there. The Indian Women's Association has a special place in my heart. And as, I'm not even going to try and say your own last name, Maria, but I had very similar experiences because I first moved to Finland in 1992. And at that time, I was probably one of the only Indian women in Finland. And I have kids. My husband is Finnish and he's sitting somewhere in the back there. So I have had similar experiences. But esteemed guests, many of whom I have the privilege of knowing from before, I've taught lunch as kids. I've met with Elina very, very often. And of course, I've stood here. This is a very familiar forum for me because I was the vice principal of the school for 2 years. So I have a lot of respect for EIS, and for what Anne-Marie has done to enhance English education in Finland. I know for years and years and years, and been through a lot with Anne-Marie. But I think that EIS for me is what started my passion for doing something more. I had started 2 English daycares in Finland, one way back in 1993 in Helsinki, an English Montessori play school, and in 1996 with my husband, who's also a teacher, in Mansala, another English Montessori daycare. And both are still up and running really successfully. So there's a long history of that. And from there, we went as a family and taught in Saudi Arabia. And then I've been at the International School of Helsinki, from where I got a leave of absence and went to China and Singapore to work. So I've been in these countries as a teacher and as well as an administrator. So about April of 2017, I was approached by Small Folks Daycare, by the owners, and they asked me if I would come and help lead Small Folks to the future. Small Folks is a very new daycare. It's only been up and running for 4 years. So we've got all these new ideas and things that the people who created Small Folks have a vision. Their vision to make things happen in a modern way. And I was kind of the balance for a more traditional way, maybe, of education, but with a view to the future. At first I was like, I'd like to do it, but my heart is in a school. And when I shared my vision of starting a private school or another English language school in Finland, their enthusiasm for education and their desire and experience to make it happen is what attracted me. It broke my heart to leave EIS because I could see all the wonderful things happening here. But it also, EIS also caused me to make that decision. Because during the testing, we would see 50%, 60% of the kids who applied that they didn't have a place. They didn't have a place to study in English, and EIS at each stage has reached its limit to how many kids can be taken. I also saw the need for EAL support, for kids to get support in English. As being Indian, I know that our home language is not always English. Many of us have more than one mother tongue, and we need that little bit of support to get the English education and to get English skills and competency up to speed and to be able to continue education in English. But then I also saw the need for Finnish education to support the Finnish language in a school. I'll go to the next one. So with Small Folks, I just wanted to say one thing more. With Small Folks, what was really attractive is the openness and the trust that is built there. When you have a daycare, that every family gets the key to come in and leave and visit the school and bring your child in instead of leaving them at the door. It says everything to me. If you trust your workers that they are always doing the right thing with your child, that a parent can walk in at any minute, that said everything to me. Because, I mean, all of us in the English daycare world do very similar things, and there's enough kids for all the daycares. But that was something that made a huge difference to me personally, and to my way of thinking and my ideals for education. When I joined Small Folks, I initially thought that it would take about 2 years to get an English school started, even just the beginning process. And since then, since I joined, we have met within the first month and a half. We have had numerous meetings with the ministry, with the National Agency for Education, with Espoo City, with Emina as well, at one stage, but more on a personal level, with Helsinki City, and with a number of multinational companies in Finland. And at every stage, we've been encouraged to continue to, we've been advised, we've been encouraged, and what they shared with us is the need for something like this. And when Ramya first approached me and Suma, because Suma's kids are not daycare, to speak here, I wasn't quite ready because I thought, if I come here, it's going to be really hard to talk about the daycare, but not about the school, because I feel so passionately about starting something like that. But within a week after that, we had enough progress that we felt comfortable and got permission from the right people to share our ideas. We're still working on it. So from that, we've been planning right through, and we came up with a vision for our school. And that vision includes, obviously, in a place like Finland where you have this amazing curriculum, why would you choose anything else? So we thought we use the Finnish curriculum, deliver it in English, but with that, all the years of international schooling and from different countries, knowing the Asian school market, I think, and what parents need, and the competition out there, to be able to offer something like that would be just amazing. A big part of what I intend to do is have a school where it's not based on, okay, in grade 1 you do this, in grade 2 you do that, and you don't move on. It's based in a child's ability to bring that child who needs the little extra support to get to the next stage, support them, but also give opportunities to students who are very competent, to allow them to move on, allow them to do more. Having kids from a mixed background, half Finnish, half Indian, I also see the need, that absolute desperate need. I know there's so many people here whose kids have the English, but their life is going to be in Finland. They need the Finnish schools to open up opportunities for them. And that was something I felt very, very strongly about, is offering additional, scheduled within the school, Finnish lessons to allow these children to have, yes, very strong English, but to allow them to have good Finnish skills. And that's something that we will develop. The growing need for Chinese. Yes, by law we have to offer a number of languages, and of course European languages are the go-to when you're in Europe. But we see the need for Chinese out there. And that was another thing that I felt very, very strongly about offering that. I've had a number of meetings and discussions with Apple Education to share my vision, and that's one of the things Apple Education is supporting. That we deliver a curriculum and we work in cooperation to deliver an ability-based curriculum and allow for children to progress at their own pace. We have proposed locations. Obviously can't at this point share exactly what those locations would be, but we are hoping it's in the Otaniemi Keilaranta area and also in Helsinki and Turku. At the first stage, we're going to start small. We're going to manage it well so that we don't grow too fast, too big, and let things get out of control. We would like to offer a secure foundation, and we would start with possibly preschool and first grade or mixed class, depending again on the response and what we get back. What I've done is I've created a pamphlet that I will put out at the tea break to share with you with information about small folks, as well as information about the International School of Finland. We have a name, yes. And I have the contact information, so you could send me questions, inquiries, and as we make progress, and as we get more confirmation from the authorities, we will share that and then reach the stage where we share registration and other necessary information. I hope, and our dream is to have it all the way one day through high school. And that's, of course, way in the future. And I can see huge opportunities to work with EIS to support each other, because there's only so far that EIS can grow in numbers. But if we can work together and work with the ministry, I think we've got lots of opportunities ahead of us. But please feel free to have questions, and then any time to send questions or request information, you can share it freely, and fingers crossed that everything works according to plan. Yeah? But thank you.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. And thank you also for emphasizing on the importance of native languages. Today we're joined by three very special guests, three very special Indian women. We're joined by Pankaj Chauhan, Saloni Agrawal, and Tanu Saini. Saloni Agrawal teaches Hindi. Pankaj also teaches Hindi in the Western Kolu, and Tanu Saini teaches Punjabi. They will join us for the Q&A session, so if you have any questions for them, please leave them at the question and answer desk. Children are ever so curious, filled with curiosity and looking for answers. Why, what, how? I wish someone could help us answering these unending questions. Jenny Vartiainen joins us today from Hoaxhouse Science, who specializes in children's playful science. She's a postdoc researcher at the University of Helsinki and a founder of Hoaxhouse Science. Jenny has written science books for children, pedagogical guides for teachers, and she's also written the manuscript for a children's science TV show and has acted in it. We now invite Jenny to talk about her work, activities conducted by Hoaxhouse, and how learning science can be fun.
Wonderful afternoon for everyone here. It was great honor to have an invitation here and have a possibility to talk to you about small children's science education and the work that Hoaxhouse Science is doing right now in the field of small children's science hobby. At the moment, I'm working as a researcher at the University of Helsinki, and I'm working in the Faculty of Educational Sciences, and I'm trying to find out what kind of is small children's learning of sciences, and I'm trying to develop new ways to introduce science for children in a playful and fun way. My second position is a founder of Hoaxhouse Science. And Hoaxhouse Science has now been working 1 full year, but I've been doing this small children's science club work from 2013. Very often people ask me, why science for small children? Isn't that way too difficult for them to understand? And I could spend an hour to talk about the importance of science education in all levels of education. But I will crystallize it now in two key points. One is critical thinking, and another one is maintaining our world. Nowadays we have very much, we need to have skills for critical thinking. In the internet, everyone can publish anything. And we need to think very carefully what information we are facing and who is spreading that information. Science is a wonderful way to teach critical thinking. And maintaining our world. We know that we have some very big issues in our world today. Maybe the biggest ones are climate change, producing food enough for our growing population, and the third one, for example, the pure water. And to answer these so-called wicked problems of the world, we will need innovative people in the fields of sciences. But we have a problem. Young people are not that into science, and we need to get people more interested in these subjects. Can I have okay. Thank you. In Oxford Science, we see that children's questions is the most important thing. And children ask questions about everything they see around them. And if we can help children to find out answers for their questions by themselves, we can teach children very important thinking skills. And in Oxford Science Club, we are looking for those answers with the most important people that children have. In our science clubs, children are attending with their parents or some other close adults. And if we can offer children with possibilities to find out and inquiry with their important people, we can create the memories and we can create the experiences that children will remember throughout their lives. And it's very important that adults give value for children's wondering and children's questions. Because how we as an adults take children's questions will give children straight message. What is the value of children's questions? If we show that your question is important and we respect it and we help you to find out answers for that question by yourself, we are building the children's self-image as a learner. And because questioning is the core for every learning. It's a core for lifelong learning. So we want to give children an expression that questioning is important. And if we look at the research on children's questions, there's very sad thing happening after children enter the school. Because children will slowly but certainly stop questioning. And that has very big effect on how we will learn in the future. So if we show children the importance of questioning when they are small and they do that questioning naturally, we might help the children to become and efficient lifelong learners. Now we have been working in Finland and we have our science clubs in 15 different locations. And now we are ready to step abroad. At the spring, we are starting our first international science clubs. And we are inviting all of you to join us. If you have a will to share the joy of learning, then we can help you to spread our Hoxha science pedagogy around. Next one. Playfulness is the core of all learning, and in Hoxha Science we are doing the science education in a playful way. Please, you can contact us. Maybe you have some more questions. Maybe you would like to hear more about our work, or just say hi. Thank you very much.
Planning for higher education, especially outside Finland, involves enhancing English language skills and preparing for language-based competitive exams. We're joined today by Penelope Ruun, who is the Vice Chair of the Finnish British Society. Penelope is a language trainer, elitist and Cambridge Suite examiner. Penelope brings her vast experience ranging from finance and controlling in Digital Equipment Corporation and teaching English as a foreign language. She's also the co-author of Stepping Stones, a coursebook widely used at most adult education centers. We request Penelope to share information about English language learning options in Finland, and we definitely want to thank you for coming here in spite of your personal situation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for inviting the Finnish British Society here today. I'm representing the Finnish British Society. I'm Vice Chair on the council which runs the Finnish British Society, and I'm also a teacher and examiner at the Language Centre. So, next one. Thank you. We're situated in downtown Helsinki. Straight down from Kamppi into Puonavuori. We're in the green building on the corner. Upstairs on, I call it the first floor, I think Finnish people call it the second floor. And we have there classrooms and offices, we have a nice club room, and most of our language teaching and also our other activities are organized, take place there. We are a not-for-profit organization, and we do not receive any external funding, so we are completely independent. We have a limited company. We need that for certain tax reasons and to do with the IELTS examination. But the limited company is wholly owned by the not-for-profit organisation, so we are not-for-profit. The FinBrit was founded in 1926, I think, yes, 1926, and we're 90 years old. Well, last year we were 90 years old, and Finnish companies put up the money originally to create the Finnish British Society. I think the main reason was to enhance trade relations between Finland and the UK in Finland's early years as an independent nation. And everybody realized that in order to do that, you need to understand about the culture of the country and also the language. So the Finnish British Society was founded to enhance cultural relations between the two countries and also to bring over language teachers to help Finnish companies to improve their language skills. And the first teachers were actually sent to work inside paper mills in the back of beyond, and from then on we increased our language teaching, and we're have a language centre in Helsinki from about the 1940s. So we've got quite a bit of experience up our sleeve. Our mission statement hasn't changed much since the 1920s, but I think that in reality we've changed quite a lot, because as you may realise, English has become a very international language. It's not about teaching British English anymore. It's about giving people the language skills they need to communicate internationally. So the Finnish-British Society, actually we call ourselves the FinBrit, is much more international nowadays than it was in the early days. So the next one. I'm going to start off by talking about IELTS, because I think that's something which probably a lot of you here have already had to deal with. And some of you we might have met before in that situation, as I am an IELTS examiner. The IELTS International English Level Testing System is now the world standard in English level testing. It's by far the most widely recognised English level test, and you will need it to go and work abroad, to go and study abroad. If you're going to study in English anywhere in the world, not just the UK, but anywhere in the world, you will probably be asked for an IELTS certificate. And also for residency, the general test may be required as well. And I have two things to say about IELTS very quickly. One is, if you, or maybe you have older children who are applying to study abroad in the spring, if you need the IELTS certificate, you need to register very, very early. We have limited capacity. We run sessions 2 or 3 times every month. I think in December we have 4 sessions. But in the last couple of years, we've been in a situation where we've run out of space to take everybody, which means you have to travel to Stockholm or Tallinn, because we are the only IELTS testing centre in Finland. So do plan ahead if you need to take the exam. The other point I want to make is that it's not like a high school exam. You do need to prepare for IELTS. It's not enough to think, I speak really good English, I'm going to do fine. It's very frustrating when, as an examiner, I see some students underperform in IELTS because they've not really known what to expect, and they don't know what's expected of them. So it's come to us if you want more information about that. We run IELTS preparation courses, and we can also tell you where to find resources online and so on. We have longer courses and also workshops, like pop-up workshops for academic writing and things like that. So that's IELTS. We also run the Cambridge suite. We're a Cambridge examination centre, and I know that a lot of you are very, very fluent English speakers, and probably you would be more interested in the higher level exams. For example, Cambridge Proficiency is the highest certificate of English language proficiency out there, and if you have the CPE on your resume, on your CV, it really does say something about your level of English, because the Cambridge Proficiency exam is a native English speaker level. And we run courses in all those certificates. I think we have some students, for example, high school students who take the first certificate, and also CAE, but most of the people who take the CPE exam are adults. And recently I've been doing a lot of in-company training, for example, in law firms and places like that, where young professionals want to have that certificate on their CV, and the companies want to be able to use that when they're bidding for business, because it does show a certain level of proficiency. So we offer those exams, and we also do the preparation courses for them. Next slide, please. We do other courses as well. We're not totally focused on exams and pieces of paper. These courses are run mostly as evening classes at our premises, and we cater for all different levels of English, and or both business English and more general English. This is just a very small selection of the courses that we run. I want to say one thing about those, and that's that you can take these kind of courses in the Omnia, for example, in Espoo, the other Tievaana-pisto, Helsinki Aikuisopisto, for example, in Helsinki, and they will be much cheaper there because they get funding. We don't, so we're not making profits, but we need to charge a more realistic fee for our courses. However, what we do offer are very small class sizes. So my Stepping Stones course at the moment, I have 8 students in that group. So you get very individual attention and a lot of individual feedback. You get a better opportunity to actually practice your English skills. I recently did a Swedish course in Tapiola it was an Omnia course, and there were 22 students in my class. So progress was a little bit slow. But that's our differentiating factor, if you like, that we do have these very small class sizes. Okay, next one. And Finbrit also offers a lot of coaching, one-to-one coaching. We go into companies to do that. We also do it at our premises. You can come to Finbrit for one-to-one coaching. And it can be done for any. We've had small children come, primary school children, come after school for a little sort of homework session. I'm currently coaching a high school student who's preparing for the Helsinki Model United Nations event. She has an important role on the Helmund and wanted some help with her public speaking and her voice. So we have all different kinds of people, ministers, politicians, and a lot of company executives who have very, very specific needs, and everything is customized for our students. Now, I know we've been talking a lot today about younger learners. We don't specialize in educating English language education for small children, because we know there are a lot of organizations out there who are doing that and are doing it very well. One thing we do offer, and we've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years due to demand, is we call it the Fun Club, and it takes place the first 2 or 3 weeks in June, so after the end of school, before midsummer, and we have usually 2 groups of children. It's about having fun, playing games. There's a nice park behind our premises in Punavori, so we can go and play games there. Music, art. If the weather's bad, we stay indoors, maybe. We have qualified primary school teachers running those 2 clubs. I don't have any information for next summer yet, but all our courses, everything is advertised on our website and also on all the social media. Next one. So we're more than just a language centre, though that is one of our core activities. We are really a community, and we have a lot of different activities going on all the time. Every day of the week, there's something going on at Finbrit. The Nursery Rhyme Club takes place on Sunday mornings, I think, or afternoon. No, I think it's Sundays, anyway. And that's for the toddlers and their parents as well. It's an opportunity to sing some songs and just to meet other people with small children and talk and sing in English. We have a knitting club, and I don't think they do much knitting, but they drink a lot of tea, and it's very big, very international, and lots of fun. Our language cafe is a new activity, but it's been very successful, and next week the language cafe is having a games night, so we'll be playing Monopoly, Cluedo, Scrabble in English, and just generally having a nice social evening. We have an international folk club. We have the Finbrit Players, which is a theatre group. They are performing Ingrid next week, which I'm going to watch. The poetry group is another new activity. It started off once a month, now it's twice a month. It's been very popular. And the book club and Naked Ladies is all about swapping clothes. So that's about once every 2 or 3 months. You bring your clothes, you swap them, and anything that you don't want, we donate everything to charity. So you're welcome to that. Now, all these events are free, and everybody is welcome. We encourage people to become members of our society. I think it's 20 euros. It's not very expensive, but if you become a member of the society, then there's a big discount for you on our language courses. This was our 90th anniversary party last year. We had a huge event. We rented a lovely room in Helsinki. It was a 1920s theme, so it was a little bit Downton Abbey. We had 1920s dinner. We had a dance instructor who taught us how to do some 1920s dance moves. We had a 1920s themed meal, and it was absolutely great fun. We had lots of people turn up for that. And we don't do big events like that all the time. This was a special one for our anniversary, but it was a really good fun occasion. And once a year we have an open house. It's usually, it's always on the night of the arts. So that's the evening in Helsinki when a lot of places are open, a lot of music in the streets, and people wander around town. And we open on that day from midday until about 10 o'clock in the evening. We do free level testing. We demonstrate our courses. We give out cucumber sandwiches and ginger beer. And in the evening there's live music and entertainment. And it's the kind of thing you can pop in and pop out. I don't know the exact date next year yet, but it's always on the Night of the Arts in Helsinki, and anybody is welcome to come and visit. And so I'm very sorry I cannot stay today for the Q&A. I will leave some leaflets here for you to look at, but everything is online on our website, on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram, so it's very easy to contact us. And of course, you're more than welcome to just turn up at our premises in Helsinki. We have full-time staff there during office hours, Monday to Friday, from 9 till 4. You can just turn up, come in, and if you have a specific question about language or about our social events, then please come along, and we will have a chat with you, and we can design a course for you. If there's a small group of you, maybe 6 people who would like to have a conversation class, or you need something for your children, we're always open to suggestions, and we can design something for you. So I look forward to meeting you again at Finbrit sometime soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We would now like to welcome a very special speaker who's been with us since the very conceptualization of this event. Without her support, this event would not have materialized. Anne-Marie Rappo is the principal of Espoo International School. Anne-Marie is a leader in the field of education and educational technology. She's had a key role in planning the Suurpelto campus and has advocated providing different levels of international education in English for students in one location. Under Anne-Marie's leadership, the school invests in active participation and strives towards diverse activity. We're extremely thankful and proud to invite Anne-Marie Rappo to share her thoughts on the education system in Finland and Espoo International School.
Thank you for the introduction. And thank you to the organizing committee for inviting me to speak here today. Before we go on, I think that we all agree this afternoon has been informative, enjoyable, and I think we should all thank the lady who is behind organizing this wonderful afternoon, Ramya from the Indian Women's Association. I've been asked to talk about English medium education in the metropolitan area, so bilingual and English medium education. So, okay. I've first added here a slide. We've heard today from Susan Bergotsky that there are plans to increase the number of seats in English education in Espoo, and the same goal is was in the previous slide in Finnish. So in Helsinki, also there are plans to increase the number of English seats in basic education. I don't know anything more on those plans, but this was in the news this fall. And it came, I think, from the mayor of Helsinki, Jan Vapaavuori. Okay, then the next one. So we have both English medium education and bilingual education. We have different schools in Helsinki, Vantaa, and Espoo, and it's all falls under the heading of bilingual education in the new Finnish curriculum. But there is a distinct difference between bilingual education and English language education. And the goal of the education for bilingual is really that the students are very fluent in both English and Finnish. Whereas our goal here in English language education is really to prepare the children to go on with their studies in English. And at least with Espoo International School, we have many families who come here only for a few years and then continue in the next country. In bilingual education in general, more lessons are taught in Finnish than in English. Here at Espoo International School, we only have 3 or 4 hours of Finnish as a mother tongue or Finnish as a second language. We do have some electives also in Finnish, but most of the lessons are held in English. Here are some programs that I've listed in Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa, and there might be new ones that I'm not aware of, but we have a good deal of communication going on with the other schools. We have the same entrance tests, many of the schools. We possibly use different sections of the entrance tests, and there's we swap applicant lists, and we meet regularly before the entrance exams are held in January, for example. So there's a lot of cooperation going on between the different schools in the different cities. If you could just go back to the first, to Helsinki, one more, here. No, the next one, please. Okay. So, many of the applicants that we get here at Espoo International School are students that are also applying to Maunula, the English classes of Maunula, to Ressu, and to ISH, and the English school in particular. And these are schools where you don't have to know Finnish in order to apply. Then with the bilingual programs, often the entrance test is at least partly in Finnish. And if your child does not know Finnish, cannot apply to bilingual education, and applies to one of the English language schools and does not pass the test for whatever reason, there is always preparatory education. So there will always be a place for your child in basic education. Ressu, if you just go back one, Ressu has only one class in English per grade level. I think they might have 1 or 2 classes, but there are very few places, so 25 places, and you have to be a resident of Helsinki. And Elina Vanne, who will be speaking after me, will share the entrance criteria, because there have been new changes made, updates to the entrance criteria regarding Espoo International School, and she will share those with you, wasn't it so? Yes. Yes?
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I have a question.
Yes?
When you say
So in Espoo, the bilingual programs, first of all, you have to know Finnish to enter the program, because the same test that students can at Espoo International School sit either in Finnish or English, you always have to sit it in Finnish when you apply for the bilingual programs. And in Espoo, the bilingual programs have been arranged so that the number of subjects taught in Finnish increases the higher grade the child is in. So if by third or fourth grade, it can be half of the lessons are already taught in Finnish and the other half then in English, whereas here at Espoo International in English medium education, everything continues to be in English. So the children are very fluent in both Finnish and English when they finish this bilingual program. Bilingual program. Okay. And then the next slide, please. Vantaa. So there's Vantaa International Schools, which is very much like Espoo International School and the English classes of Resto Comprehensive School and Maunula schools. And then they have added this Rekolanmäen koulu. So that's a new English medium class. I don't know, is it bilingual or is it just English? Do you have to know Finnish to enter the program? But it is a new addition. And which grade levels they have at the moment? I think it's first and second grades at least. And then the next one, please. And so we are the only full English medium program as an international school, but there are several bilingual programs, as you can see. And a new addition is Meritorin koulu, that's in Espoonlahti region, and it's actually, they offered it already last year, but there were not enough applicants to start a class. So you have to at least have 18 students in order for them to begin with the program. At Espoo International School, we have 3 classes per grade level in grades 2 to 9, and 2 classes in the first grade. And hopefully we'll be able to add a 3rd class, so meaning 75 places in first grade in January 2018. And at the moment we have places available in all the grade levels. So students who pass the test, I can offer them a place at the moment. Well, let's say our 9th grade is full, we won't be accepting students there anymore, but all the other grade levels, there are places available. Next. And then I just listed here some of the IB high schools. So in Espoo we have Etelä-Tapion Lukio and Matliidens, and in Helsinki there are several programs, and in Vantaa there is Tikkurila. The European school is not listed here, but they also have their EB, the European Baccalaureate program. And these are always arranged so except for ISH, that there is the Finnish high school and then an English stream which offers the diploma program, the IB high school program. Also, Etelä-Tapiola is increasing their IB intake, so there will be more places available there sometime soon. At the moment, we don't have any Finnish high schools offering the Finnish matriculation in English, but I do know that some high school principals have given us feedback to the Finnish Agency for Education that they should reintroduce sitting the Finnish matriculation exam in English. So that's something to look forward to, hopefully soon. And if you still have the next one. Also, I've included here Hyvinkää. I know that there are some families who have had their children previously attending classes in Hyvinkää. So there is an English stream at Asema School as an option also. I know Hyvinkää is at least half an hour, 40 minutes away, but that is also an option. And one other private school that I didn't list here is Kielo School, which is a private new school in Helsinki. And I know that we've had applicants from that school as well. Okay, and I will be here for the Q&A session as well, so if you have any questions regarding entrance for first grade or any other grade level, then please feel free to ask me. And we also have in January, I don't have a date for you, but we have in January an information evening on first grade entrance, so you're very welcome to attend. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie. I'd just like to remind you to make note of your questions in the Q&A form and submit it before going out for the tea break. We now would like to welcome Elina Vonne, who is a member of ESPO Committee of Education and Early Childhood Education. She's also a member and has previously chaired the EIS Parents Teachers Association. She will share her experience on schooling system and also as the EIS parent, and also will share information on Nokia. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here today. I'm glad to be here with you and share you my thoughts about how to be also a parent in the ESPO International School and how does it feel. I'm currently member of ESPO City Committee for Education and Early Childhood Education, which means that I hear things and I have some topics that we have already decided, at least preliminary plans for the next academic year. But a little about my background. I lived in Espoo a long time, did my schooling here, did a university here as well. I have a master's degree in engineering, and then I lived in Canada, Toronto, for 4 years, and my kids also were born there. It was nice to meet Eija Rolamo here again because my kids have attended Albatros daycare after we came back in Finland. So our route to EIS has been, as written here, first Albatros daycare, then Ostipuu School, the English language education, and then finally down here when we moved here in Opinmäki. I think this building is excellent example of Espoo's educational knowledge and what it really can mean when city has ideas and courage to really make things happen. I really enjoy this building and also the what's going on here. Can I have the previous one? So also, I've been a member of school board, so in that sense I have some background information, what's going in schools and what are the key things happening there. Currently, I'm a member of EIS school board as well. So, I have written here, there are some same things what Mrs. Rapport just told you, but let's go through this again. So, for English language basic education, if you apply, the child must know English. That is the thing. For bilingual, their Finnish is required. And there is always the option to go to Finnish school as well. So, nobody will be left alone. And there is support for those who don't know Finnish when they enter the Finnish school. After 9 years of school, there are several options. High schools, like Mrs. Rapport just presented, there are IB high schools, and then there is the Finnish high schools. And my dream would be that we would have the Finnish curriculum high schools in English as well. Because when you are at that stage, that you're choosing what's going to happen after 9th grade, please check it through very, very precisely. IB high school is very different from the Finnish high school. It has different kind of requirements for the student. it's not the same. And how I have my older child is now from 7th grade. I'm already seeing this, like we have to really decide, is she going to continue for the high school? Is she going to apply for the IB, or will it be the Finnish high school? We'll see. I don't know about it yet, but I'm really looking at it very precisely because IB is different. Of course, I've been through the Finnish schooling system, so I know how the high school, at least back in those days, were. But I just noticed that it is a great difference, and it also is about what you want to do after high school and what are the requirements then. Please, when you are at that stage, please see what's really inside there. And I hope that we will have the Finnish curriculum also provided in English at high schools very soon. But then, high school is not the only option after comprehensive school. In Espoo there is Omnia, vocational studies, and at least now they have 2 certificate programs in English already now. One is about administration and business, and one is about health and social. So there are other options too, not just high school for everyone. Like Member of Parliament Maria Guzenina mentioned you earlier already, that Espoo City, Espoo Tarina, Espoo Story, the strategy really outlines very clearly that internationalization is coming to Espoo, and it's important to serve people also in English language. And Espoo, to be the most international city, there are clear goals, but for those we need your help. We really need the help from the international community. What is it that you need, that you would feel more home here? What kind of services? What kind of city you would like to have so that it would serve you better? So in a sense, we are here to listen to you. We are also providing you some information. Also, we are here to listen to you. What are your wishes for Espoo? There is, like Susan already mentioned, there are ideas. This building, as Espoo International School, may not be enough after a couple of years. We might need another school. And let's hope that something happens soon so that we can accommodate all those who need the English education. The need is acknowledged especially in the Otaniemi area because the professionals with the families need services in English. But for me, myself, I've studied in Otaniemi. I love the area. But we must find a suitable building with suitable surroundings for a lower grade school there. It can't be an office building. At least that's really my personal point of view, not the city of Espoo. This is me thinking about it. It really needs to suit the demands for a school. And like mentioned already earlier, EI is not moving from Opimäki, at least for now. But we do need more English language education. What we have already decided at the Committee for Education and Early Childhood Education is that maximum amount of students at the EIS next fall is 75 students, which means maximum is 3 classes. But that means that those applicants must meet the minimum requirements to be accepted. Also for the 7th grade, like Mrs. Rabo just mentioned, it's 75 students as well. And one big change that came just recently was that for grade 2 to 6 and 8 to 9, if you applied, you needed to have a background in English education. So you couldn't apply from Finnish school for those grades. So now that requirement was removed. So in a sense, anyone can apply. Another decision we made is that students living in Espoo, they are our priority. Because Espoo City is providing this international schooling, it is mainly for Espoo citizens. The minimum requirements, there are 2 different kind of tests. One is about English language skills, there is interview and group assignment. And then the other day of exam is about evaluating linguistic proficiency. And it can be done in Finnish or English, depending on the guardian's choice. For example, I chose for my children, since their mother tongue is Finnish, they did that test in Finnish. But of course, the English language skill test was there on the first day, and that was in English. And then another decision we made, that if student moves away from Espoo in the middle of term, they can finish the term at the EIS normally, like they don't have to move school right away. So they are allowed to do their school year till May or June when it ends at EIS. And I think that's a very nice thing to for many families. I think that's it. I could have a couple of questions if you have any, because today is a special day. The Finns tend to take candles to the graveyards to remember our loved ones. And I have plans to go there too. So I have to start driving to Middle Finland soon so that I get there before it's very dark. But if you have questions, and you can find my contact information in many places, please do send questions. And I'm here around the school a lot too, so just come and ask. I'm just happy to serve and help you with anything I can. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Marina. We would now like to invite all of you to the Biodome area for some tea and Indian snacks. Thank you. Please do remember to submit your questions to the questionnaire area.
Children's Finnish skills at all. We only test their English skills. And what was the second part of the question? Sorry.
Are there any prerequisites, or how can we prepare the children for tests and interviews?
You do not need to prepare your children for testing. I know that many preschools do prepare the children, but it's not required. So the things that we ask on the entrance exam are things that the students learn as a part of their preschool curriculum. So it's your basic ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and the children are not required to know how to read or write. We just want to ensure that they're ready to start school, they're able to study in English, and that's really it. But we do not need to prepare the children for the entrance exams.
We'd also like to hear about the daycare's perspective on this, as to how you prepare the children for the schools and admissions.
Okay, I can repeat Anne-Marie's words. we don't prepare in Albatros daycare. I'm only talking about on behalf of Albatros daycare now, because I know that there are different systems. But the only preparation that we do is allow a child to experience the interview in that sense, like that it's something new to a child to go to talk with a person that they don't know. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's because that's the first time maybe in their life when they have to go somewhere and there is some unknown people talking to them and interviewing them and giving them some like tasks or not tasks to do. So that's the only one of experience that we allow them to experience in our daycare. We take the preschoolers to visit to our other locations, and there is another teacher who meets them individually, talking to them, and it's just a simple talk and simple like meeting with another person. That's the only. Otherwise, no preparations at all. And I can even say that if you try and anybody try to train your child for the interview or for the test, it might mislead a child. We have had an occasion where a child was very trained by a family, like once they ask you this and when they do this and what you should say. And it means like a child freezes when this certain like maybe question doesn't ever arise. Like they are waiting for a certain thing to come, and once it doesn't come, they are just waiting. So they miss the actual point, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so we have the same entrance exams as Helsinki and Vantaa for first grade, but each school, each city decides which sections they use. But we are now updating our entrance exams. So the questions that we asked last year are not the same questions we'll be asking this year. So
I do know it's a very stressful experience to send your child for EIS, this admission test. But really, from a kindergarten perspective, we just want children to be relaxed and happy and in the moment. And that's why we spend so much time talking with them, so that they feel comfortable in different group situations with strangers that they haven't met, and they have a chance to relax and be themselves. If they every day spend 4, 5, 6, 8 hours, 10 hours a day being listened to in a kindergarten, then they are comfortable in this kind of new situation, which could be intimidating, but hopefully if they had this positive reinforcement of the day-to-day kindergarten life, they're relaxed, and that's the key thing, to really listen and not be nervous and not be afraid of the questions. Just listen and be there, and then have fun. I always tell the groups, just be yourself. You're all smiley and happy, just be that. Be that and enjoy it and have fun. That's the best attitude.
I have to say that's one of the questions I get asked the most because of my EIS background and now in the daycare side. And I think as a daycare, if we're doing things correctly, it happens, we give them the skills. And I think all of us feel the same way. We give the kids the skills to be able to handle that interview. And if it's like teaching to the test, which is completely not what we aim for. And if we give them those secure skills to converse with people, to open up, then we're preparing them and giving them new experiences as well. And I do have to say that if, when our school starts, we're hoping that our aim is not to have entrance exams, because I personally feel that and I understand with state schools the need for it because of the competition and everything, but I feel that it's not correct to judge a child on 1 day's or 1 hour's performance, but to allow them and support them when they join. So that's something very, very important.
We were talking at the break a little bit as well, and I have been thinking about this for so long that, of course, there needs to be a system because there aren't intimate places available, but it isn't fair to judge anyone, especially a 6-year-old, in just a few hours of time. And if there was a more open system where the schools were visiting the kindergartens to see the children in the process of their day, being who they are in a comfortable environment, it would be such a natural way to see the children for who they are, because it is very hard to judge anyone in a matter of hours. And I don't know that it's a reasonable expectation for a city school to make that leap, but perhaps if your school develops this way, it could be something to consider.
So on the first day for Espoo International School and for the bilingual schools, the children take part in a group test, which takes about 45 minutes. Depending on the number of times the children drop their pencils and erasers and asked to go to the toilet and so on. But it's done in a small setting of 15 students and 2 teachers in a very child-friendly manner. And we try to keep the atmosphere light. We do some exercises. If we see that the children are getting restless or so on, so we might walk around the classroom, or we really try to organize a child-centered testing situation. And then on the second day, we do one group test, which is also a very child-friendly test, and then we have the interview. I'm a mother of 3, and my youngest is very shy, and in 2000 and something, she applied to Kometta School for the English program there, and I told her that you have to answer the questions in English. How does the school know otherwise that you're able to speak English if you don't answer the questions? And she did. Children are 6 years, they understand that, okay, how would they know otherwise if I don't say anything? The children are also encouraged to bring a toy with them, so that the teachers can start talking about the toy if the children get stuck or feel very shy and so on. So it's we made the whole testing situation as child friendly as possible.
Thank you. We also have a question for our native language teachers. I think we can start with Tanu. She's our youngest teacher. She's 21 and teaches Punjabi. Tanu, can you tell us a bit about where these classes are hosted and at what level do you teach Punjabi?
Well, first of all, I want to describe myself as a teacher. Well, I'm starting myself at this stage today. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here. And seriously, I didn't expect this kind of event here, like by my fellow Indians, because I have been studying at ISV, and then I completed my IB studies here, and now I'm on my way to European Business and Administration. And through this journey, I got the opportunity to study Punjabi as an IB subject, which was more of an independent subject. And well, since me being a Punjabi Indian, I actually wanted to be in touch with my language as well at the same time. Of course, I learned Finnish as well. Well, I won't actually speak Finnish because I am not confident enough, but then, the schools, the college premises, they make sure that I do learn enough Finnish that I understand people and communicate with them. And at the same time, I wanted to learn my language, so I was given a chance by Reston Lokyo in the IB curriculum to study Punjabi. And by that time, I have been trying to share what I am learning with these fellow, I wouldn't call them my students, but well, probably people call them my kids, but at this stage I won't call them my kids. I would just say that my friends, in a sense, although they are like 5 to 14 years of age, I like to share what I have learned with them. I know way more than they do at this point because they were born here, they were raised here, and they don't know enough of their language. So I have had classes with them in International School of Banta, mostly Wednesdays and Thursdays. those were some private lessons under Punjab Cultural Society Finland, because I wasn't much aware of what the Kaupungi does in that sense. But now that I am, I have tried to contact certain people to have these classes in the school curriculum as well, and I guess there was a possibility, and maybe you'll have them in ISV by the coming year. But yeah, that was about it on my part. And except for that, there are private lessons as well. As such, there are people, like there are Finnish people who want to learn Punjabi. So I teach people, for example, my current students, there are these yoga teachers. So there are these verses in Punjabi from Shri Guru Granth Sahib, if someone knows, that's the Holy Book of Sikhs. So they want to know what the things mean in there, and in order to do that, they need to learn Punjabi. So I teach them as well, and that's just, I'm not a professional teacher, and well, that was about it. I just share what I have learned at this point.
Thank you so much. Saloni, do you want to talk about the Hindi language classes?
First of all, I thank all of you for coming here, and this has been a really great opportunity to share this place with all of you. And this has been an excellent info session for me as well, because I'm in the system from last about 5 years here, but things are changing with time, and it's good to know what's happening and what's coming up. And about the language studies here, these mother tongue languages are a bit different than what we have as optional languages or compulsory languages in the school. We don't have any planned curriculum that we should follow. And it's the teacher's perspective that how they plan their lessons. The only thing for me in the Hindi lessons is I try to divide, because it's a bunch of 20 students and each one of them has a very varied level of competence. So it's difficult to merge a class with 20 students with different levels. While some of them might be very good at reading, but they can't speak. Some of them are very good at speaking, but they can't study. They don't know the alphabet, so you have to start from the beginning. So it's quite varied in that sense. So my thing is that I try to just combine all aspects: reading, writing, understanding. We have 1.5 hours of time for once a week, and it's not that much that I can do much with the kids. And especially when it comes in the end of the school, after the end of the school afternoon activities, the kids are already tired with every day's work. They are not very keen, so I have to make it more kind of entertaining for the kids. So my idea is I would divide 1.5 into the sections of half an hour each. First half an hour I usually do is with the alphabets. We do a little bit of reading things, some kind of tasks that give a more approach to the alphabetical aspects. Then the next half an hour we go to vocabulary development, so that they know what is. I would show them pictures or something, and then we talk about it. Then they share their own views. If they are not that comfortable with speaking in Hindi, they are welcome to speak a little bit of English in the classes, and then I always make a point to tell them what they are saying in Hindi. And then the last half an hour is mostly what I do with them is I divide it into 4 kind of games. So we play lots of vocabulary games, and then I have also introduced grammar into this, and I try to make things more clear with including like basic grammars like pronouns, nouns, verbs. So that's how I divide my lesson into it.
Thank you. And Pankaj, we also have an extra question about the Hindi language. Do you prepare for any of the comparative exams in India for Hindi? Yeah. Or does what you teach compare to any of the Hindi curriculums that we have in India?
No, it's totally different. I would say some students coming from India here in Finland, I'm teaching them as well. So they are on top of the level, I would say. They are on like this upper level. And what the kids are learning here, they are just like, because of the language, they are learning in English as well. I'm teaching in Tovanobisto in adult education, and I'm teaching Hindi with the kids in English school 2005 till 2017, continuing still also, and in Hagaheri as well, and in adult education university. So I have experience with different level and different kind of people. So I make my own syllabus here because this is not their own language, I can say. They're all over the India, the kids, and they don't even speak Hindi properly. So I go with them one by one, what's the level they have. So I don't make them just like one group or just like, I take them one to one and what level they have. So I don't make like an exam. I don't want to make a burden for them. If they love me, I'm talking about myself, they love me so much and they love to study with me.
Thank you so much. The next question is for Anne-Marie. Why do English language schools have an entrance test and the public schools don't? Why is there a need for an entrance test? Isn't it the right?
Because we have a restricted number of places. I think Cornelia touched upon this already. So we have 75 places per grade level.
And I'm not sure if you can shed some light on this, that now English is the third official language. Is there a plan to include English in the public schools also? Do you know anything about that?
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask our politicians, but they're both gone, so I would really like to know what it means that English is considered the third official language in Espoo. There are so many documents that we have available in Finnish that we desperately need in English. And when is that going to happen? And what else does that mean? It's very much my question as well.
Another question is, if the child doesn't get an admission to EIS and goes to a bilingual school or a Finnish school, later on, can he apply to EIS?
Yes, so according to the new criteria that the Education Council decided on in September or October, I forget which, children can apply to Espoo International School once a year, and they don't need an English language school background anymore. So let's say that your child doesn't know Finnish and for whatever reason does not pass our entrance exam for first grade in January, they can go to preparatory education for a year and then reapply the next year.
I'm sorry, we are just flooded with questions. It says, it's in the news that Finland is moving away from subject-based education. What does that actually mean, and can you describe how is it in practice?
Well, we are required now, according to the new Finnish curriculum, to have at least one multidisciplinary project per year, a study unit per year, meaning that subjects are working together, and we have a multidisciplinary approach to our curriculum. And as we all understand that subjects, you cannot look at the same phenomenon in different subjects separately. They're all connected to each other. So basically, it's actually what we have in the IB diploma very much, this interdisciplinary approach or multidisciplinary. They have different names for it.
Thank you so much. We have a question for Suzanne. Is there a date for opening the International School of Finland? How many seats would you have? What would be the admission process? And how is it different from EIS in terms of curriculum or in any other way?
Since I just moved to the company in August, and I had estimated 2 years to get the school started, and we reached out and had such positive response from every agency, every company that we reached out to. We are now ready to start, not ready to, but aim to start in August 2018. And I see it as complementing EIS because, like I said, the need for EIS, being a state school, to have the tests to get in, because I've done the test now with Anne-Marie for so many years and with the teachers here, and there's no way to take in everyone who applies. And that was the motivation behind starting the school. And the other thing I see missing, which I would offer in the school, is having EAL support, so English as an additional language. Because especially for the community sitting here, our kids have such varied language backgrounds. You know, some have 2 Indian languages as a mother tongue, and then English as the language of communication. So there's always that need to lift that level of English also, which is what we would like to offer there. And our plan is in 2018 we would start with potentially a preschool and either a first grade, or depending on how many applicants we get, a mixed first level of primary education. So it could be a mixed first and second grade as well. And a lot of it is open because we're in the process still. So it might be that we have to start it completely private while all the legal processes are going through the system and through the ministry and the Obitus Holidays and everything. But also to ensure that we meet all the standards. I am personally doing a principal's training in Jyväskylä with 45 other Finns, and to ensure that we cover and that I have the depth of knowledge to, not just from the experience, but from the academic side and the legal side, to ensure that we are meeting the requirements of what will be offered and what the Finnish House aims to offer.
Thank you. The next question is for Eija. Are there any plans to increase the seats in your daycare and groups? And is there any options in your daycare for residents of Helsinki?
No, okay. This is bad.
This question is from Uma. Some of you have written names, so this question is from Uma if you have any supplementary questions.
No, okay. So the most difficult part to start a new daycare or to increase the seats in a daycare is to find proper premises, and that's the problem. So whenever you would like to increase the seats, which is, of course, we love to do it if it is ever possible. We have some plans, we have some dreams, but as I said, to find premises, it's critical. I myself am not any willing to leave from Leppävaara area. That's really nice area. It's really easy access from everywhere, and I'm not just like looking for something from somewhere. So in that sense, if there is any hope to find something in that area, we will do it, definitely. I promise it here now in public, but we don't have any plans because we don't have any chance and premises to do it at the moment now. What was the second part? Was something
anything from Helsinki?
Yes, of course. Like anyone from Helsinki is more than welcome. We don't have any regulations that not allow us to take any Helsinki people. The only problem, as we are private daycare, is the pricing, because the allowances, the private daycare allowances between Helsinki, Espoo, Vantaa, Kauniainen, they are all different. And Helsinki, at least as far as I know, Brian would know better. Maybe you answer to this question regarding pricing.
So in Espoo, they pay 600 euros if you're coming from Espoo, but if you come from Helsinki, they pay about 100 euros less. So as we have our total price, and Kela pay, 500 and something euros, then the remainder falls on the family. So they cover the difference. Yes, so it's about 100 euros more if you're coming from the Helsinki side, as opposed to if you live in Espoo.
Okay, so now we just heard here now that this morning on Helsingin Sanomat there has been some news regarding this fee, these allowances. So okay. Now anyhow, I asked you all to check the city website, Espoo, Helsinki, Vantaa, as well as Kela websites to see what is the allowances, and then we still have the same fee to everybody. So you can just calculate yourself like how much you should pay if you are coming and if you join us. And what I know, what is in Espoo now, it should come then in January 2018, there should be some kind of a sibling increase, like 145 euros to compensate if you have two or other children in the same place, in a private place, which helps, of course, in case you, and as you have to pay all costs that fall on you when you come to a private daycare. But there are some small changes to come, so please keep eye on the news and the information.
Thank you so much. The next question, I guess, is open to everyone. Does starting their education in English limit the possibilities of a child as he grows up in Finland in terms of high school, university, or jobs?
Yes. Not for my children, because they also speak Finnish at home. But for those families or those children who don't get Finnish anywhere else besides school, the 3 or 4 lessons, for example, here at Espoo International School, that's not enough.
I'll switch to being mom now, because I have personal experience. I have 2 children currently in Espoo International, and I have a daughter who went to Resu. My husband is Finnish, but did not speak Finnish with our children. We've lived here 10 years. My daughter, fine, no problem getting into IB, that suited her, she was that kid, no problem. English, fine, no problem. I have 2 more children, let's see what happens next, because it is frightening that they are not able to be in S1, so they are not fluent, mother tongue fluent in Finnish, so it is frightening. Because of the Lukio gap, that's the problem. Once you get to university again, there are options. It's when you get to the Lukio level. And I'm fine with my daughter now living in the UK. That's fine. She's 22 years old, going off to university. But my 16-year-old, I want him near me. I don't want to send him away so he can study English. So I am in this boat with many of you, and it is work.
Same boat. I had one, our youngest was here in Espoo International, and then we moved him when he finished here to a Finnish school to get the Finnish. Luckily, he was born in December, so he was the youngest always. But we wanted him to get that Finnish to give him more opportunities. Because same thing, 2 who could manage fine in Finnish, 1 who had functioning Finnish but not academic Finnish. And that's where the difference is, that academic Finnish for the subjects. And that's something that we hope to provide in our school. To have the academics in English, but then to support it with the Finnish skills and offer those extra lessons in Finnish. So very close to my heart.
Well, to this I would like to add my own experiences. Well, at the time I graduated from the IB program, I actually wanted to study psychology, and since me being an Indian, my Indian mom would never allow me to go out to study at that point. She was, we are aware that Indian parents are just overly obsessed with their kids. I mean, I don't mean to offend you all, but we all know the truth. So, yeah, she actually didn't want me to move away at that point. So, I applied for business studies, and luckily for me it worked. And I won't say that it's like you have less of the opportunities there, but right now, at this moment, I feel that there are much more opportunities than there were before in English. And you shouldn't actually just allow your kids to choose for themselves. If they want to move out, yes, but if not, if they want to be here and study in Finnish, of course, it's always a yes, but then preparing for that in advance is something they need to know. They should be learning Finnish. I know it's a big time struggle, because at one time I had to make the biggest choice of my life, either just drop the idea of studying psychology and just go for business studies, because that's what was the availability at the university level, or actually move out of Finland. So it's just that you have to prepare them beforehand rather than just giving them it just at that point to choose that, hey, this is something you will go with now. Because I don't think that it's really fair that they have been studying in English throughout their life and then you just come up with an option which is something they have to just get rid of all the things they have around and stick to a new atmosphere in a new country in that sense. So that was it on my part.
There's a question from Goduli Sinha for Anne-Marie. What is the teacher selection criteria for EIS?
All the teacher positions are advertised on a MOL, M-O-L, and so basically for permanent positions you have to be qualified in Finland. You have to have the recognition from the Finnish, they changed their name, it's Finnish Agency for Education, it used to be FNBE, the Finnish National Board of Education. And for temporary positions we can even hire staff who don't have the recognition from the Finnish agency for a maximum of 6 months, so for half a year. But all of our positions are advertised on MOL, M-O-L.
Thank you so much. The next question is from Evelina for the daycares, really. How many foreign children do you have, and do you have a mix of Finnish children in your daycare?
Like on behalf of Albatross only, we have about half and half. We have, or 1/3 of our 100 children are like completely foreigners. 1/3 about is some mixed families, like some either or parent is Finn, and then 1/3 is Finnish families. This is about the ratio. It of course varies among the years, and I think that this year it is a bit more Finnish families involved than in some previous years.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to mention now that we have received a lot of questions also for the speakers who are not present right now. What we'd like to do at this point is open it up for our audience for the last 10 minutes. Please raise your hands and Sushma will basically pass on the mic.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask, okay, you talked about the entrance criteria for the English education. Can you also say a little bit what are the minimum criteria in terms of the Finnish language to enter a Finnish public school? Because, okay, for example, let's assume that a child goes to an English daycare and doesn't know Finnish or knows very basic Finnish. So can the child continue in a Finnish public school? What is the minimum level required? Thank you.
Unfortunately, I can't answer that question because I don't know. You would have to ask the someone who works in a Finnish basic education unit.
I can answer. Espoo City has these updates for daycares. We just had one. And if your child does not have Finnish and wants to go to a Finnish school, they are what Anne-Marie said, they're preparatory classes. And I have to say my son went at grade 8 to one of those because to get his Finnish level up to a certain standard to join the mainstream Finnish classes. And they offer that at various stages. So it's Espoo City and Helsinki really, really support that as well.
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I thought your question was that if a child has attended Espoo International School and you would like to change them to mainstream Finnish basic education, what level of Finnish do you need to have to be able to join the mainstream?
No, my question was more if the child has attended English daycare and wants to go to a Finnish public school and has a very basic level of Finnish, so thank you.
Hi, this question is is about basically exam at the EAS. You said like they can take. Hello. Yeah. Actually, for the first grade, you have a test set in the January.
Yes.
But they say that it is at the age of 7. But they even say that it goes with the year. So how does it go? If the child is 7 at the December, or 7 at the basically in the middle of the year, how does it go?
So in January for first grade, we're testing children born in 2011. So it doesn't matter in which month your child was born. However, we're also possibly testing some children who were born in 2012. So you can begin school before the statutory age if you go through an application process. You get a psychologist's statement saying that your child is ready to start school earlier. So that's also possible. But there's a different process for that.
For those kids also the year matters or the age of like exactly 6?
So either 2011 or then 2012 through the separate process. It's just the year. We're looking only at the year.
Okay. Yeah. I have a follow-up question about the schooling, which basically they finish until 9th grade in the EAS. Do they have academic finish taught in their schoolings? During the...
Yes, we're a state school, so they all study either mother tongue Finnish or Finnish as a second language. And in grades 1, 2, and 3, they have 4 hours of Finnish as a second language or mother tongue Finnish. And then from 4th grade up, it's 3 hours, except for 8th grade, which is also 4 hours. And then we also have some electives that we offer in Finnish. But that being said, this is not the best environment for any child to learn Finnish. So here we focus on English. And so during our English classes, we try and teach a mother tongue English curriculum. And then in the Finnish lessons, of course, those who are able to study mother tongue Finnish, we try and teach a mother tongue Finnish curriculum with 4 lessons, whereas in the Finnish schools, they would be doing that in 5 or 7 hours. So,
how do they cope up with this Finnish English school, high school system? Because if they don't learn much academic Finnish in the EAS, how do they basically cope up with that?
We have over half of our students in 9th grade applying for IB. About a half, roughly, get a place in IB, and then the rest go abroad or to finish high schools or vocational schools. And I think they manage relatively well. Of course, there's a lot of new vocabulary. All the subjects are taught in Finnish, and here they're used to studying everything in English, so it's a challenge. But they have 3 years then to improve their Finnish skills, and that's a question you need to ask the students who have gone through Espoo International, Kometta Postipuu, and EIS, and then to finish high school. I did my basic education in English following the American curriculum, and then into Finnish high school, and it was very challenging because it's just the terminology that doesn't exist.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello.
Yeah, hello. This man. Yeah, don't worry, they will cope up. I'm telling about my personal experience. My son was in this school, so he's in 11th grade in Makedan. So he has learned Finnish as a native language here. He was sitting with native Finnish class. So, and we don't speak even Finnish at home as well. So don't worry about this.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms of them, basically, how do they cope up, like how much stress we are giving it, because they don't learn the academic Finnish, then basically like we are forcing them basically learn academic Finnish throughout the years.
Don't force.
I'm not forcing them. It's not like forcing them, telling them, basically it's like leaving them basically learn how do you want to
Actually, sorry to say, this is our Indian mind. Somehow we force them. We don't want, but we force. Sorry to say that. I'm very good teacher in Finland. Best teacher, so don't worry.
My question is extending the same question. So, my daughter will turn 7. She is December born, and you said that 2012 born can appear in January already. So, how about the preparatory school? Was it? Yeah. So my daughter can appear this January to EIS entrance already.
So which year was your child born? In 2012?
Yes.
Yes. So then you have to get a privately conducted psychological assessment, which, according to which your child is ready to begin school a year before the statutory age.
Okay.
And then you have to present that to me a day before the entrance testing, and then you have to still send a copy of that report to Espoo City, to the head psychologist's office. So there is a process for that, but it is possible. And every year we get maybe 3 or 4 children who were born a year later applying for first grade.
Okay, and how about the if she does not get through, then you said there is also a preparatory.
Then she can reapply to Espoo International a year later in January again, as if she was going to, as the rest of the children who turned 7 that year.
Okay. And how about the daycare? Because I have been asking the daycare about this information, which I did not receive any. Is there some kind of a forum where I can check these?
Now, because your child was born in 2012, yeah, you will not be receiving the same information home as the children who were born in 2011. That's because I think Espoo City, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Espoo City sends home this applying for first grade, this kind of a booklet. But because your child is not turning 7 next year, you will not receive that information. So you have to be very proactive in finding this information. Cornelia?
You can find it online in the Espoo City website. You will find the process detailed there. It's exactly as Emily just described. 24 hours before the test. It's getting around to be in hand, but all the details is outlined there.
Okay.
You can find it. In English.
My question is for the Hindi language teachers. When my son started school this year, we chose Telugu as the mother tongue language that he is going to learn, but unfortunately that's not available now, and we would like to send him to Hindi language classes. What's the procedure now to send him to these classes?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was the question? Like he applied for Telugu and he didn't go?
He applied for Telugu, but unfortunately that's not available. Nobody is teaching that. So now I would like to send him to Hindi language. So what's the procedure?
Yeah, it's possible because I think Telugu this year didn't really receive, at least there should be 6 candidates to start a language, and I think there were not enough. So they didn't continue Telugu this year, but yeah, if he wants to join Hindi in December, he can again apply. There's form for mother tongue language teaching, and then we just fill it, and you can apply for Hindi, and you can start from December.
And where do I get that form?
It's on the Espoo website, and it says mother tongue language application form.
Hi, my question would be when students are at the very end of comprehensive school and applying for the QO level, if they are facing, if they intend to go to IB and they need to face an entrance exam. So in school, do you provide any kind of guidance or any training as such when they are facing?
Yes, of course. So as a part of the finished curriculum in middle school, we have student guidance counseling lessons. And 9th graders have 1 hour a week for the full year. So they visit high schools, they have students from high schools visiting them, they have the head student guidance counselor for Espoo City visiting our classes and so on. And there's also a fair, usually in November, with all the different high schools. So there's lots of information and help and support available. What was the second part of your question?
It was like that. I mean, when they are facing entrance exams.
Yes, entrance exams, yes, for IB. So actually many of our teachers provide support lessons, for example, in mathematics and chemistry. And of course we do ask our former students what kind of things did they ask you on the entrance exam, and we have a good list of questions and exercises that we do to help prepare for the entrance exams, because most of them sit several entrance exams in April.
So we'll just take one more last question.
Hi. I wanted to continue with the Shalini's question, as her daughter and my daughter were in the same age. Even I have the same question that can my daughter can write her exam in coming Jan, as she is 2012 born, and is the registration still available for my daughter to apply for this year's entrance examination, since it's already November and 2 more months left for the test?
You mean for first grade?
Oh yeah, first grade.
Yes. So the application period, to my understanding, I don't have the dates, but I think it opens in January.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, thank you.
Can I ask just one really short question that I think applies to everybody?
Yeah. So my question is to you regarding the EIS admission process. I understood that ESPO residents are given preference.
Yes.
But what about Helsinki residents who want to apply for EIS, and if their kid gets admission, they are ready to move to ESPO? So is there some sort of process to support this kind of situation?
Oh. Yes. This is quite complicated. Is it okay if I speak to him? Because yes, it is possible. According to our newest criteria, you have to be a resident of Espoo to apply for a place here, but not in January for 1st and 7th grades. You can be a resident of another municipality in January when you're applying for 1st and 7th grades. That's the exception. So you can submit your application for 1st grade, yes, in January, and if your plan is then to move to Espoo, yes, so that is possible. And if your plan is to move to Espoo, then you will be treated as if you were already a resident of Espoo. Yes.
Thank you so much to all our speakers and our guests for participating in this discussion panel. It was really informative. Okay. Is it okay if we take just one more? Sorry.
If I can ask, I think it applies to a lot of people here. If your goal for your child growing up is to have them be as fully bilingual in academic Finnish and English as possible, what is the best possible route to go? Should they go international school with limited Finnish language that you have? Should you try to go the Finnish language school route and do the IB program if possible? What would you suggest as the best option?
Now that is your decision. I will not make any suggestions. Each family is unique and you have your things that are important to you and how life goes. I'm not willing to make any suggestions.
But is there anything close to truly bilingual, equally divided English and Finnish education in Finland, or do you have to choose more Finnish or more English?
If your child speaks Finnish, like a fluent Finnish, it's more like it's kind of an equal option to apply for bilingual when then it goes the first 9 years for this bilingual system. Even though it's not fully bilingual, the Finnish language increases the further you go. But if your child doesn't speak any Finnish at all, it's only one option, or actually it's two options: either fully English if they pass the English exam, and or then the fully Finnish. basically that matters. Like if they speak both languages before they apply, then they have this bilingual option. Otherwise, not.
Okay, so thank you again to our speakers for this really informative discussion panel. I now hand it over to Ramya Sriram, who is the chairperson of Indian Women in Finland.
Thank you all. Honorable MP Maria Guzenina, respected Malaysian Ambassador to Finland, Her Excellency Dato' Blanche Olbury, Principal of EIS Anna-Marie Rappo, CEO of Albatross Daycare ARO, and General Manager Brian Crosby, CEO of Small Fox Daycare Susan Crosby, General Manager Cornelia from Garden City Play School, Ms. Elena Wen, Member of EXPO's Committee of Education, Early Childhood Education, Jenny Markkinen from Hoskos, and Pamela Ross, Finbridge Society. And our most valued special guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Ramya, on behalf of the entire team of Indian Women in Finland, along with the parents' fraternity, extend a very hearty gratitude to all speakers for gracing a seminar of this kind and sharing your valuable inputs and opinions today. Thank you very much. Further, we are grateful to MP Maria Guzenina for joining us on such a short notice and encouraging us to do more. We wish to express our sincere thanks to Honorable Ambassador Her Excellency for her constant motivation and support she has been embarking on our team for the last 2 years. We must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Ms. Anna-Marie Rappo for being the key pillar behind this event, without whose help I'm sure we would not have been able to have had such a grand seminar. Thank you, ma'am. We're extremely grateful to all the speakers here for enlightening us on the education system in Finland. We're all inspired by great words. A special thanks to Finland today for being with us in such short notice. Thank you, Mr. Richard Becker, and covering the event. Thank you so much. It's a great privilege for us. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Jnana team for the perfect support that was extended. I'm so proud to invite the team on the stage. Please come on stage. We would like to hand over a small certificate of appreciation for all their hard work. Please welcome the Jnana team girls. Viva, who has been the pillar behind the Jnana right from the start. Dejani for all the coordination with EIS and help with organizing. Suma and Bhavna, a special mention here. They handcrafted this notepads. It took so much of hard work. I really have to appreciate them for this. And of course, the registration desk and other things. And Swati, Shalini Prasanna, Vasu, Sushma, Mithali, Geeta, and many others for the logistics. I also extend my thanks to the entire IWF fraternity for their moral support and the enormous cooperation in the organization of this event. Well, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling months ago. It required planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a great team of very motivated and dedicated girls who are result-oriented. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and the willingness to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zones. Thank you all once again for joining us today in the seminar. We hope this was really useful and has helped each and every one of you. Kindly leave us a feedback on our website. And we wish you a great weekend, and all the fathers out here in advance, happy Father's Day.